Okay, for today's video, I'll talk about how I plan to teach my child about money being a tool, not a trophy, having family money meetings, the different ways to earn money, and then I'll talk about the lessons that I'm going to give her: accounting, probability, human psychology, and a brief discussion about birthday presents. And then I will talk about my Telegram community. Again, it is just to extend my video length for the YouTube algorithm. If you have already joined, just ignore it. Some people might think that teaching kids about money starts when they are teenagers. I disagree. I think that I will start her whenever she's ready. I felt that I myself had a good head start getting insights about managing money, seeing how my parents actually work a lot for shit and for that little money. So whatever pocket money I received when I was little, I'll save it for use for the next day, and my mom will just top up the shortfall. She herself, growing up, had to confront with quitting school early to work and pay for that red letter, rental and utility bills. And my understanding of investments and how rich got richer was when I was reading books during national service, and also making my first stock purchase of the Japanese mega earthquake in 2011. My daughter is now 2 years old. She doesn't know what money is yet, but she already understands choices, waiting, and ownership. So that's enough for her to start. And no, I'm not trying to raise a hedge fund manager, but I'm just trying to raise a kid who doesn't panic when she sees a credit card bill. For her, she won't learn investing from textbooks, she will learn from decisions. So when she's younger, maybe her allowance will be split into jars like safe savings, fund spending, risky but maybe bigger jar. So I won't tell her which one is the best, I'll let her choose. If the risky jar goes down, we'll talk about it. If it goes up, then we'll talk about luck versus skill. And most importantly, we model it ourselves. So kids don't do what you say, they'll copy what you do. And if she wants to know how it feels like growing up as an adult in Singapore, also known as adulting, I'll help her channel part of her allowance into CPF and she gets to spend what's remaining. And I will tell her that Daddy also don't see this money for 30 years. I mean, CPF teaches her what's for saving, long-term thinking, and you don't touch retirement money just because you feel like it. And discipline is going to be freedom later on for her. But of course, if she's keen to learn more about investing apart from CPF, then we can always explore other options. Warren Buffett, I know I always quote him, he always says that don't teach kids to love money, teach them to understand it. So he don't intend to give his kids unlimited allowance, such that they have so much money that they don't do anything. And there's this famous story that he shared, where he gave his kids allowance and at the same time put a pinball machine in his kids' room. If they wanted to play, they had to put money in. And guess what? The money went back to the family business. So his kids have to decide whether they want to go for short-term happiness and excitement or save their money and invest for return in the longer term. So it's actually this very similar to the marshmallow delayed gratification experiments. So for myself, I'm probably not going to do pinball machines, but I can always choose to install a claw machine. She can put in her own allowance, she can try to win a toy. Most of the time she doesn't. I mean, welcome to capitalism, sweetheart. And here's the key lesson: the claw machine belongs to the family, so her allowance doesn't disappear, it cycles back. And in this way, she'll learn that spending feels fun, losing money feels real, and owning the machine can beat playing the machine. Ken Ritchie, a billionaire, talks about something powerful: doing quarterly family meetings. So when my child is older, we could have this meeting, maybe even weekly. So it's not lecture, it's not a scolding session. It's a meeting where she will talk about what project she's working on, how she plans to earn money, who is she learning from, what books have she read about investments, and how she's going to plan to grow what she already has, her financial statements, and she can also set investment goals with us. So at first, her project might be, I sold slime or I make a video, right? That's fine. There's no right or wrong answer. We can talk it out and she can learn how to pitch her business plans for us to invest in also. And during these sessions, we can brainstorm together or very nicely poke holes into her business plans, and then she can refine and come back to us a week later. Or she'll also pitch her stock ideas to us. I think the habit itself matters more than the numbers. And knowing how to present and pitch confidently is super important than academic grades, at least to me. So one thing I want her to know early is that there are many ways to earn money. You can be an employee, a business owner, an investor, or trader. If she wants that toy, maybe fund it with YouTube unboxing videos. And she wants to be a TikToker, YouTuber, so be it. I mean, there are people who find success. So long as it's not morally depraved, I'm okay to the idea. And depending on how the circumstances, I might even be okay with her quitting school to expand her business, provided there's already some indication of sustained success. I mean, after all, there are so many unemployed graduates nowadays, so I don't want her to cling onto the idea that being a university graduate equal guarantees success. If she earns money by trading value, that's very good. I mean, money should feel earned, and it shouldn't feel like it's going to magically just appear. In the future, if she can take triple math, her E math, A math, and accounting, that would be great. But I understand there's no such course combi being offered at the moment, but that's fine. I'll explain accounting to her. I can also explain taxes early. Very simply, for employees, you earn money, tax comes out, and you save what's left. For businesses, you earn money, reinvest, goes into expenses, and then you tax later. So there's a difference between being an employee and owning a business, at least in the perspective of the tax treatment. I also teach her how to read and manage a simplified balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow at a very young age. I'll teach her the importance of time value of money, inflation, discounted cash flow. We can talk about the difference in the asset classes like real estate, REITs, stocks, gold, silver, copper, bonds, etc. And then we can move on to more advanced topics like retained earnings from stocks, yield from bond, or we can go into Sharpe ratio, Treynor ratio, yield curve, and whatnot. I mean, she can then use her own financial situation and do up all these statements and understand the difference between earned income and not. I mean, these are not taught in schools, and I think it's very important to start her early. I think the casino is a very good place to learn about risks and rewards, as well as odds. I don't shield my daughter from gambling, but I will teach her how it works and how to understand human psychology when people have skin in the game and how emotions can take over logic and mathematical odds. I mean, if I don't teach her how not to lose money, eventually someone else will teach her how to lose money, right? And there are lessons to be taught about concepts or fallacies like gambler's fallacy. I mean, thinking black will show up next after a consecutive run of red, which brings in concepts of independence or the law of large numbers, where over very large numbers, results will tend towards expected probabilities. But it is false that this balancing happens in the short term or is due after a streak. Or advanced topics like martingale strategy and how casinos combat them by putting a betting upper limit. Or also how casinos actually pump oxygen to let players stay more awake and play longer in the games. Or how some casinos don't offer chairs for players to rest. To rest, you need to find a seat in front of a jackpot machine just to play. Feelings lie, probability doesn't. If she doesn't understand the odds, she'll lose money, whether slowly or fast. And you look at roulette. People think that red versus black is 50-50, the payout 1-to-1, fair game. No, wrong. Roulette has what? Has 0 and sometimes 0-0, which they have added in the past 10 years. So that tiny little green slot actually break the math. And the house each for them, right, actually doubles from what? 1 out of 36 to 2 out of 36, or 5.6%. So your true odds are worse than 50%. It's a small edge, but it's going to be guaranteed for the house, and that's the lesson for her. And for example, some people bet on a particular row or column section. The payout is 2:1, even though the odds are 1 out of 3. Those are extremely bad odds. Or if you look at the big, small, 大小, right? Same trick. Do you know that if you bet on big, and if the number 18 shows up, it is not considered big? Same for 3, it is not considered small. Those are the house edges. So the house edge is now 2 out of 18, or 11.1%. Then we talk about jackpot machine. In the past there's only one line and one way of winning. Now they show 5 lines, 25 paths, and it looks like there's many chances to win. But in reality, right, the multiple lines doesn't mean higher odds. They just mean more bets at once. The higher payout frequency doesn't mean that you win more often. Instead of expected winnings decrease much more repeatedly, and you lose faster and more efficiently, like 25x more. So the risk reward is not about payout. The high payout doesn't mean that you have a good risk reward ratio. The risk reward depends on what? Probability, expected value. A game can pay out 100x and still be terrible, right? So if the probability is bad, the having payout is meaningless. We also teach her about Bayesian thinking, and she can update belief with new information. I mean, all in all, I don't want her learning all this at 25 years old and then make the mistakes many people do. I want her to see how odds are hidden, how rewards are framed, how humans misjudge probability. So casinos don't actually beat people with cheating, right? They beat people with math plus psychology. And this applies everywhere. Insurance, investing, career choices, housing choices. So anytime someone says to her, no, high upside, low risk, I want her to ask, show me the probability, or can you guarantee the returns? I also want her to know and understand human psychology, because if you don't understand human psychology, you don't understand reality. People don't fail because they're stupid. They fail because their brains are predictable. These are going to be hardwired behaviors that make people do dumb things, especially with their money. So incentive, which is the biggest one. People do what they are paid to do. Casino design games to keep you playing. Salespeople push whatever earns them the highest commission, and companies report numbers that make bonuses look good. So incentives can explain behavior far better than morality ever could. And then we have social proof, because everyone can't be wrong at the same time, right? Humans like to copy other humans. If everyone is buying, we feel safe buying. If everyone is panicking, we panic too. Munger call it social proof. Those who are in the national service will call it what? Monkey see, monkey do, right? It kept our ancestors alive in tribes, but in modern markets, it often destroys wealth. And then we have authority bias. Sometimes uniforms are dangerous in the sense that if someone looks official, wearing a white coat, an impressive title, or having a big company logo, we tend to believe them without question. Charlie Munger warns that authority shortcuts critical thinking, and that's why we should teach kids to ask why instead of who said it. And then we have reciprocation, where free stuff is never really free. You give someone a small gift, and then they feel obligated to return the favor, which is why casinos give free drinks, apps offer free trials, banks hand out sign-up bonuses, or even some companies offer free vacuum services. Munger observed that reciprocity bypasses logic. It triggers automatic compliance even when it is against our best interests. Next, we have loss aversion, where losing can hurt more than winning feels good. So this bias is brutal because the way you lose $100 actually hurt more than winning $100 feels good. So as a result, people who want to bet investment, they chase losses and refuse to sell even when they should cut their losses. And then you have commitment and consistency. Why people like to double down? Once people commit something publicly, whether is it an idea, a stock, or a strategy, they'll hold on to it, they'll stick to it even when evidence proves them wrong. It's a bit, about ego. That's why gamblers, they double down, and that's why investors will blindly average down into sinking positions. Their ego hates admitting mistakes, so their consistency becomes a trap. The last one is deprivation. You starve the brain, you break the brain. So Munger warned about effects of deprivation. When you're tired, hunger, or stressed, your brain stops thinking long term. That's why casino, they remove the clock and windows to disorientate you. And that's why markets crash hardest when fear spikes. Deprivation will actually impair judgment at the worst possible time. So all these principles reveal how deeply psychological behaviors shape their financial behavior, and why understanding them is very important for my child to have clearer thinking, sound investing, and navigating reality itself. So to me, right, teaching her about these psychological tactics, you might call it, it's not really for her to judge people. There are more psychological tactics out there. I teach it so that she can spot traps. So if she ever feel rushed, flattered, or afraid of missing out, at least that's her signal to pause. But now I'm afraid that she will use this door interface tactic on me. Okay, here's probably my favorite idea. For birthdays, she can choose to go Disneyland or own Disney stocks. One is going to be a memory of something very wonderful, and the other is going to be ownership of something very wonderful. Neither is wrong, but you can probably guess what I'm leading towards. I hope she understands that ownership lasts longer than the experiences, even though experiences feel better right now. In the next video, I'll probably share what are some of the values and skills that my child should be equipped with growing up, especially in what they call a VUCA world. For some of you who might already know, I run a small Telegram community. It's for like-minded people who are already fired, or seeking to fire. There's no ads, no sponsor and causes, as far as I can try to keep them out. So it's really a small community. If you're interested, do feel free to join, and I'll put a link in the comment description itself. And hope to see you there. If you like the video, please remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.